Welcome back to Blood 2 The Chosen. Last time the game decided it was too easy and, well, you all saw what happened. I'm gonna say right here, this level is the same as Chapter 1's opening, so let's ignore that and focus on something else. The game that would become Blood began from an idea floated between Nick Newhart and Jason Hall around 1993, with the first company to work on the game, Q Studios, forming in November of 1994, 1 month after Hall formed Monolith Productions. Originally, it was planned to be a fantasy game in the style of the 1985 arcade game Gauntlet, but it was repurposed in early 1994 into a concept called Horror 3D due to another team at Apogee working on a game with a similar fantasy theme that was released in September 1996 as Power Slave. Story ideas included a man escaping from a secret laboratory or someone avenging the death of their family at the hands of demonic forces. The initial team started small, originally consisting of Nick Newhart working on his own with some help from his friend Chris Rush, eventually adding on Peter Freeze as a programmer, Kevin Killstrom and Eric Klokstad as artists, and Richard Gray as mapper by the time of Q Studios' formation. Gray was later moved to the team that created Duke Nukem 3D, requiring James Wilson III to be hired in August 1995 to replace him, alongside hiring Terry Hamill as an artist and level designer. John Anderson also worked with the company for exactly 1 year, from August 94 to 95, though he's not listed in the final game's credits. One of the biggest moments in the game's development came in February 1996, where the source code for the game was leaked onto the internet by an employee at a computer repair shop one of the team's computers was left at. The so-called Blood Alpha shows a somewhat similar but still markedly different game from what we received over a year later. The protagonist was a more generic hooded cultist named Michael, and while the weapon set was mostly the same as in the finished game, several of them looked noticeably different, as I went over earlier. Following the release of Duke Nukem 3D, the team began making weekly public updates of development progress, first through the 3D Realms website before moving on to its own official website. By this point, the team was expanding almost exponentially, with new talent including 3D artist Brian Waite, level designer Craig Hubbard, and AI programmer Daniel Leaks. In June of 1996, the team at Q Studios moved into offices owned by Monolith Productions, in part so the latter group could assist in creation of 3D full-motion video, setting in motion the later merger of the two teams, reuniting Newhart and Freeze with Jace Hall and several other former colleagues from Edmark Corporation who had helped Hall form Monolith. However, Freeze would leave the team for personal reasons shortly after this merger. It was around this time that the game truly started to shape into the form it was released as, with October 1996 seeing the replacement of the player character Michael with a new character, who would become everyone's favorite zombie cowboy. November saw the website Online Game Review publish Love is a Warm Shotgun, an interview with James Wilson and Nick Newhart. December was another important time for the game's development, seeing not only the first people who were allowed to play the beta version of the game, but also Monolith splitting from 3D Realms, who were now focused entirely on Shadow Warrior, and moving to have GT Interactive publish the game. Reasons given for the split ultimately include a lack of formal contract, a limited budget of $15,000 a month at maximum, and 3D Realms demanding changes to major gameplay aspects after having not had contact with the team for months of development at a time. February 1997 saw the completion of the first release candidate for shareware, followed by the finished version in early March. Another interview with Newhart and Wilson was published on the website Ozone in April, along with the final touches being added to the game, Killstrom finishing up the art while the collaboration of Guy Whitmore and Daniel Bernstein finished up the sound effects and music. The game went gold on April 25th and saw its final release 1 month later on May 31st, 1997. Whew. Well, back to the actual game now. Guess how this one ends.
You've gotta be kidding.
Yep. Next time we see some actual originality, and a lot more pain. See you then.